cover to cover, journaling the journey. This week we're going to be covering Leviticus. Leviticus is known as a book of rules, but really Leviticus is so much more than that. It's really more of a book of worship. And the name Leviticus actually refers to a lot of the laws for the priests, all of whom came from the tribe of Levi. Leviticus is the third movement out of the 5 in the Pentateuch that were written by Moses, and it picks up essentially where Exodus leaves off. So convenient. And the children of Israel had basically just built this tabernacle, a temporary temple, essentially, where God can dwell among them as they journey through the wilderness. And you could sum up the book of Leviticus with God's repeated command, "Be holy as I am holy," over and over again. That's the theme. And holy just means set apart, but it's a lot more involved than just being special. God is holy, far greater in love, in goodness, in power, in justice than any human being. And up to this point in the Bible, God's been a very long way off from his people on earth, although God has communicated with humans, in some cases even appearing to them privately. Think of Abraham's visitors in Genesis chapter 18. He has yet to publicly manifest his presence on earth like he did in the garden. But all of this now has changed. And God's made Israel his people, and it's a people that now are to represent him on earth. He's established his presence in the tabernacle, a portable, holy place where God is able to dwell in the midst of this new family, this new nation that he's created. But if people are going to live in the presence of God, there are going to need to be some things that change, because God is so other from the world. The people that are going to be associated with him also need to become other too, because God is holy. His people would need to be holy as well in order to be in his presence. So this book is filled with details on how the people of God can be holy, how they should live, how they should eat, how they should sacrifice and celebrate, and on it goes. For instance, cleanliness and uncleanliness. One way that the ancients understood holiness was in terms of whether or not something was clean or unclean. And this isn't the same as good or bad. In a sense, its purity is something aligned with the holy power that we're approaching, or is it unaligned? And this core theme, you can be seen all the way through the book of Leviticus. When somebody is operating in alignment with God's purity laws, they're clean. When someone is out of bounds, they're unclean. And the book of Leviticus has a lot to say about how to stay clean, and when we become unclean, how to become clean again. An important thing to note throughout the Pentateuch, Moses assumes that everyone at some point will become unclean. After all, just like the popular children's book says, everybody poops. Deuteronomy 23, 12 through 14 makes you unclean. The point is to live in a manner that respects the presence of God. In Genesis, we saw Israel's origin story, the Tower of Babel. God scattered the families of the world into nations with their own languages. Just a few generations later, we see God choosing Abraham as a patriarch with their own special nation. In Exodus, Abraham's descendants have multiplied and have become a mighty people living among the Egyptians. Pharaoh enslaves the people for a few centuries until basically God chooses Moses to rescue them. After this dramatic exit of Egypt, God makes a special arrangement with Israel, making them his people, and himself their only God. That was very important. The people then built a tabernacle, and the creator of the world began dwelling among his people. That is why Leviticus is such an important book. It's the new normal for God's people up to this point. Yahweh is publicly living among humans again, and this hasn't happened again since the Garden of Eden when God would visit Adam and Eve. Last time God shared a place with humans, we messed it up. And so Leviticus is really about pushing the reset button and allowing God to dwell among his people and teaching them that it's only by being holy, by being set apart, that we can truly be in the presence of a holy God. So the theme scripture of Leviticus, Leviticus 20 and verse 26, you are to be holy to me because I, the Lord, am holy, and I have set you apart from the nations to be my own. And that has not changed. That is still the standard for God's people. That is still the standard for God's children and for his family. So enjoy this next week of really digging into Leviticus. I know it probably seems like a lot of rules and regulations, but it's so much more than that. Essentially, it's the heart of a God who longs for his people to be in his presence. And I think if we view it through that lens, that it really is a beautiful, beautiful book. Enjoy your week. Bye-bye.